Big number.
Tell you what, though, fellas, if there's someone that can do it and has the youth to do it as well, it's probably with Junior.
Is your 2024 Team Home Run Derby champ. It was up there forever and came up just short. What a show Bobby Witt Jr. and Teoscar Hernandez put on in this final round. Just missed.
There's your winner of the Home Run Derby, Teoscar Hernandez of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Might be a little familiar with that name if you were paying attention to Red Sox offseason stuff this past offseason. Did you know that Teoscar Hernandez wanted to play for the Red Sox? Did you know that Teoscar Hernandez is a power-hitting, right-handed outfielder/DH type? Did you know the Red Sox need one of those? They certainly need it now. They needed it then. And it turns out the reason that he is not here is because the Red Sox weren't willing to go far enough to get him here. And the question is, was going far enough really going all that far at all? That's where we start tonight on the Baseball Hour. It's All-Star Night. We do have a lot to get to. We will circle back to Craig Breslow's comments from yesterday. And I think this kind of all ties together, right? I mean, this is all about the trading deadline and what the Red Sox need and some of the discussion that we had last night. It's McCarthy in for Maz tonight and all week. Room for you on the phone lines at 617-779-0985. It's how serious do the Red Sox want to be? It's good news that the Red Sox have said they wanted to add, or they want to add. Breslow making those comments the other day kind of sounded reluctant in doing it, but hey, they want to add. At least that's a step in the right direction. Because this past offseason, they weren't all that interested in adding. Or they were only interested in adding if it were truly on their terms, which I've been saying for years. If you're not willing to add on somebody else's terms, or at least on a 50-50 term, you're probably never going to get anybody that you really want, and you're never going to improve your baseball team all that much. You need a right-handed hitting, power outfielder, power DH, whatever that is. Teoscar Hernandez is that guy. His numbers at Fenway Park, if I recall from our offseason discussion, are really quite good. And he wanted to be here. Don't take my word for it. Take his word for it. This is sound from Hernandez in February, I believe, when he signed with the Dodgers. I forget what month it was. But this is sound of Teoscar Hernandez on the Ben Verlander podcast this past offseason.
Were there other teams that were seriously in the mix down the stretch, or once you decided with the Dodgers, then the process kind of took over and you went forward with them? Or was it like down to the end, you didn't know what you were going to do?
At the end, it was Boston and the Dodgers. We were trying to get more years. In Boston, the only years that they offered was 2. So, and everybody knows that because it became public.
Yeah.
But like I said, the best opportunity and the best chance that I have to get a good deal was the Dodgers, even it was with 1 year.
Favorite stadium for you to play at?
Boston.
Why?
I don't know. I love the way the fans are. I love even when people don't think about the stadium is because it's really old. For me, it's one of the best ones. I don't know why it is. I don't know what it is, but it just feels good to play in there.
Yeah. So was that going? I know you're happy where you are and how things ended up this offseason, but was that part of the thought process this offseason when the Red Sox were in the running of like, man, I love playing in that stadium. I love the fans. I would love to play there.
Yeah. You know, I cannot lie about it. I was really excited because they were showing a lot of interest for me. But at the end of the day, you know, I just trying to make the best decision that I can for my career and for my family. So They didn't come with a good deal, so I have to decide going somewhere else.
They didn't come with a good deal. That's it. For a guy they needed. And we knew they needed right-handed hitting in the offseason. They need it now. The Red Sox are 11 games above 500. Imagine where they'd be if they actually had a right-handed hitter or two. They're 12-15 against left-handed starters this year. This guy's an all-star. He wanted 3 years here. Is 3 years all that much to pay for an impact Major League Baseball player? This guy's an all-star. 3 years. He ended up taking a kind of a 1-year make-good deal with the Dodgers so he can hit free agency again. You could have had this guy. He wanted to come here. For 90 seconds there, he is as effusive in his praise of Boston as you can get. And why wouldn't he love playing at Fenway Park? He's a right-handed power hitter. That's a good spot for a guy like that. Loves the fans here, loves coming to play here, wanted to be here. Kept saying, man, I really wanted to be here. He's disappointed there. He's like, I can't believe the Red Sox weren't serious enough about this. I can't believe they didn't give me a good enough offer. That sucks, man. That sucks. And, again, it's like you decide now you want to add. And that's good, and I praised the Red Sox for that on Sunday. I praised them yesterday. Like, you want to add. But why did it have to take so long? Why? Why did you have to be so unserious up until this point? And how serious really are you now? It's a fair question we should all ask. Like, Breslow says they've picked a lane. They're going to add. That's good. We should celebrate that. But to what extent? Is adding going to be, well, we're going to trade for Justin Turner because he's got, a few months left and he's got a 700 OPS. But, everybody really liked him here last year and he's kind of a good fit for Fenway Park. Or are you going to go out and acquire somebody a little bit more impactful than that? Are you going to, go out and get, a bum back end of the rotation starter just to make sure it's not Cooper Criswell starting every 5 days or Josh Winkowski? Or are you going to trade for Nate Eovaldi, who would be a perfect fit for this team? Playoff experience, a big game guy. How far are you going to be willing to go? They're doing the bare minimum. I mean, right now, what Breslow said the other day is, hey, we are admitting we are going to do the bare minimum, which is an upgrade given that they haven't done anything at all in years. So, I mean, I'm celebrating it, but the standards have been lowered here, man. The standards have been lowered. And I think the Teoscar Hernandez thing is more proof of that. He wanted to be here. He said as much. He's had an all-star year. You're going to see him tonight. He's going to play in the game. You're watching the game tonight. You're going to see Teoscar Hernandez. Maybe he'll be one of the 3 hitters who goes out there for the home run derby tonight if the game's tied. Maybe Teoscar Hernandez is going to have another moment tonight after winning the home run derby tonight. Didn't you need a guy like this? Of course you did. Problem is you weren't serious enough about it. Your thoughts, Jimmy?
Oh, it's a problem where there are all-star players who want to be members of the Red Sox, and the Red Sox have not been interested and are not interested because they cost too much money.
You believe, and you said this all last year, how about the guy Hernandez was facing in the home run derby finals last
Bobby
night?
Witt Jr. wanted to be a member of the Red Sox. I believe Bryce Harper wanted to be a member of the Red Sox. I believe Christian Yelich wanted to be a member of the Red Sox, and the Red Sox weren't interested because it costs too much money.
I know your source on 2 of those, and I will vouch for the fact that source is impeccable. So that's not just Jimmy Stewart saying something on that. I believe that. I believe that too. It's wholehearted, and that's all I'll say on it.
And that's a crime, Matt. Is that in any of these that people want to play for the Boston Red Sox, the Boston Celtics? There was a time where people wanted to come play for the Patriots. Mm-hmm. People love playing for the Bruins. Hockey players want to come to Boston because it's such a great environment, and you have all-star level players. All-stars
yes.
who want to come here, and you don't want to pay them. You're not interested in paying them and add them to your team and help everything else. It's a shame that it's such a business now, and it's not just about putting the best team together and winning the most games and going for championships. It's about how does that line item look at the end of the year? How does the budget look?
I think one of the things that Hernandez said, too, that was really interesting about, wanting to come to Boston, he said the Red Sox weren't willing to go beyond 2 years. Well, he ended up taking 1 with the Dodgers. But the difference between 1 year and 2 years is that the Dodgers are a more desirable destination. And for the longest time, Boston was one of the premier destinations in baseball.
And it still is.
It can be. Yes, there was the athletic polling of baseball, of players around, they poll 800 players or whatever, and Boston was still listed as one of the premier destinations for players. Players still want to come here.
But the Red Sox don't want you, the really good player, unless we've drafted and developed you.
And the other thing is the Red Sox.
That's a shame, Matt.
And more importantly to that, Jimmy, the Red Sox don't want to give the fans what they deserve. It's not even a part of their calculation. Red Sox fans deserve the best baseball players on planet Earth. For 20 years, you were accustomed to that. Hell, even more than that. I mean, even before the Henry, the beginning of the Henry ownership, the Red Sox going back to Ted Williams, always had one of the best baseball players on planet Earth. That was it. Even if the teams weren't great, there was always, Ted Williams is the greatest hitter in the history of baseball. Yaz won the Triple Crown.
It was Ted Williams, and then there was a gap, and then it was the impossible dream of 67, who lost.
Yes.
And then it kind of went from there.
We don't need to do that. We can save that for Felger tomorrow, who will remind you that the 1967 Red Sox lost, to which I would say, Mike, as you're driving home, so did the 1982 Brewers, so suck on that. 617-779.
Molitor had to get a ring with the Blue Jays as an add-on.
Molitor. Oh, little slap hitter.
Robin Yount never got a ring. Oh, man.
Too bad, Molly. What a slap hitter. I will not disparage Robin Yount, but Molly, please. 1982 Brewers. They weren't very good either.
They lost.
They lost, Mike.
But Matt, the problem is that all-star level baseball players want to be members of the Boston Red Sox, and this ownership group, the GM, they don't want a star player. They don't want an all-star player unless we have developed him through our system. That's a shame.
That was the point I was making yesterday. Garrett Crochet is available. The Yankees are interested in him. If you're believing the reporting from Bob Nightingale, the White Sox have asked for Yankees outfield prospect Spencer Jones, who is ranked 75th in baseball or whatever. The Red Sox have 3 prospects ahead of Jones in the rankings. Anthony, Meyer, Teal. Not in that order. It's Meyer, Anthony, Teal. But the Red Sox aren't interested in acquiring a 25-year-old front-of-the-rotation starter who, by the way, is in the All-Star game tonight. He's an All-Star. Just like Teoscar Hernandez. They weren't interested. Corbin Burns. The Brewers traded Corbin Burns for 50 cents on the dollar because he's going to be a free agent. Red Sox always would have been interested in a guy like that before. They weren't now. They could have had Corbin Burns this past offseason for not one of your top prospects, and they chose not to. And they've gotten out of the business of employing the best baseball players on planet Earth, and that's a problem. So it's good when Craig Breslow says yesterday, hey, or Sunday, that this team has made it obvious. We need to add. We need to take them seriously, which was his wording. Well, that's great, but you didn't take them seriously in the first place, and your level of taking them seriously is going to be, we're going to add a role player or two, whereas the Yankees are going to try and acquire the best guy on the market. They may or may not get him, but at least they're going to be interested. The Red Sox aren't interested in that. They're out on that business, and that should frustrate you. This is the All-Star break. We should be talking about, for years, you'd be saying, hey, look at that guy. He's a free agent this upcoming offseason. Well, the Red Sox will be interested in him. That was always one of the things I enjoyed the most about the All-Star game. Look at this guy from this small market team who's going to be a free agent or he's going to be available via trade. I want to watch this guy tonight because I want the Red Sox to trade for him. Paul Skeens is pitching tonight. In the old days, Jimmy, as a Red Sox fan, I would watch and I'd say, man, I can't wait until he's on the trading block in 2 years, and it's going to be the Red Sox and the Yankees, and I hope the Red Sox get him. I would be watching for that reason. Pedro Martinez was an all-star before he showed up here. They traded for Pedro, and it changed everything. They're out of that business now, and it's not good. 617-779.
How did Carl Pavano and Brian Rose end up? Because that was a pretty good trade for the Red Sox, wasn't it?
Pretty solid trade. Hey, how about Yoán Moncada? What's he doing? Is he in the All-Star game tonight?
He's not.
No, he's not. Is Chris Sale an All-Star?
Oh, he is. Is Vaughn Grisham an All-Star?
No. But I don't fault the Red Sox for that one. I don't. They did need to move on from the Chris Sale.
Oh, but they got the wrong prospect from the Braves. The Braves never give up a good prospect.
So that's the second guess, the guy that you got back for him. Moving on from Chris Sale, no, I won't.
You already had Nick York, who, by the way, I believe is tearing it up in the minors this year.
Well, you have 17 middle infielders between Double-A and the majors right now. So
that's too many.
It feels like too much. You have 2 middle infielders in a starting lineup. Yes.
And the Red Sox could use a left-handed starting pitcher, right?
Yes, but that involves trading for one. And are they willing to do that? Or is it just going to be a rental? Is it just going to be a rental at this deadline? Why wouldn't you go out and get a guy with term, pay a little bit more in prospect capital, but improve this team for this year and for years to come? Acquire something that you don't have. Make a baseball move, a baseball decision. Hey, we have a surplus of left-handed hitting prospects, middle infielders and outfielders. Why don't we trade for a power-hitting righty? Why don't we trade for a left-handed pitcher? We don't have any of those. Is that too unreasonable for me to ask?
Mayor for Crochet, who says no?
A lot of people.
Oh, the Red Sox say no. That's right.
That's the problem. A lot of people. To which I say, are you nuts? Now, if you want to say McCarthy, I'm not trading Mayer, that's fine. How about Roman Anthony? How about Kyle Teal? Now, I would make the argument that Teal's the guy of those three I wouldn't trade. That's the baseball decision I've made. But you're telling me all three of those guys are untouchable for a guy who's going to help you this year and years to come? We've lost our way. Some of the fans have bought into that narrative too, which I really want to push back against. We've lost our way. But it starts with what the Red Sox have done. They have lowered the standards. 617-779-0985. Two open phone lines right now. Grab them. We'll continue. We'll get back to Craig Breslow's comments from yesterday, which I think ties into all of this. All-Star game tonight. Trivia Tuesday tonight as well. You don't want to miss this. It continues on the Baseball Hour. It's McCarthy in for Mass.
This is the
everything, the players on the field, the staff. But yeah, I mean, I think this team has put themselves in a position where we have to take them seriously, right? Like, the job that they have to do is win as many games as possible, and they're doing that, and they'll continue to do that. It's my hope, it's my expectation, and we need to be thinking about opportunities for us to improve the club.
To you at 617-779-0985 would be, how much should you improve? How much do you believe in this team? Do you want them to acquire just a rental, just a role player here or two? It's not going to cost you all that much. It's going to cost you a surplus of, Nick York or Blaze Jordan or some of those guys down there that are never going to play for the Red Sox. Or are you willing to actually give up a little something extra to get something that you don't have for the long term? That's a question we really should be asking over the course of the next 3 weeks. I know what direction Craig Breslow is going to go in. There's no way he's trading really anything of value. So he's going to get a little bit less back. It's going to help this team. If you acquire, a role player in Justin Turner, you go out and get, Yusei Kikuchi from the Blue Jays. Maybe it's not going to cost you what it would cost you to get Garrett Crochet. It certainly won't cost you that. But should you be willing to pay a little bit of an extra price to get something big? Not for this year, but for the long term, too. That's a question we should ask. 617-779-0985. Let's start off tonight with Brian in Somerville. Hey, Brian.
Matt, in the winter, I called to talk, and you had brought up, take the Red Sox future bet because they're going to make a move. And this is a perfect segue into what we're talking. They didn't make that move, and it was super frustrating. Mm-hmm. Now they're in a position to make that move, and they should go for it. They're, 11, 12 games above 500. They're in a wild card spot. We said it was free money. So for our sake, mine and your sake, make a move, improve our futures bet, because we were smart men when we took that bet way back in the winter before free agency.
Yeah, Brian, I'm not going to pretend like I'm super smart because I took the Red Sox under this year, all right? I also have the win band between 75 and 80, so I'm not going to make that money. But Stu and I think, also, just for funsies, have a futures bet on the Red Sox to win the World Series. I think I got mine at plus 4,000. So, Stu, we're going to be very rich when the Red Sox win the World Series.
I believe awesome. I had them at plus 5,000. But in fairness, I did also bet them to have the worst record in Major League Baseball.
Well, we call that hedging, right? That's what we do. You go on to DraftKings and you hedge your bets.
And here's the thing. As I did this on FanDuel, my personal sponsor, I'm going to lose on both ends of it because they're going to be in the middle.
Yeah. Which is where they want to be. Always in the middle, not necessarily. We got to pick a lane. All right, well, how strongly are you going to go in that lane? You're going to be in the right lane or the left lane? You going in the fast lane or the slow lane? Can we go in the fast lane? Improve this team not just for now, but for the future.
We're going to go in the middle lane and make sure that Mr. Henry makes his money. Because it's a business now, Matt. It's not about winning championships. It's about the business.
Hard to argue with that. Sean in Colorado. Hey, Sean.
Hey, how's it going? I just wanted to make a quick little point here. So I personally enjoy all big three. Obviously, I know there's too many prospects, and you have to deal something. My biggest concern and why I don't want them traded at this deadline is because Breslow is a first-year GM, and I don't want him to be pressured into making a decision. Reading Alex Spear's book, it delved into the trade for Chris Sale, and he correctly identified that Yohan Moncada would be the right person to move and not Devers. My biggest fear is the trade deadline rushes Breslow, and he trades the Rafael Devers of the three and not the Yohan Moncada.
Really good point, Sean. Really good point, and that's the argument against trading those guys right now. But the argument shouldn't be all three are untouchable, which is why I like how you really kind of differentiated between that. If you want to say Breslow needs more time to pick which one of those guys you keep, which one of the, I would keep two of the three, right? Which one you keep, which two you keep, which one you trade. If you say Breslow needs more time to figure that out, I'm on board with that. You're not forced to trade them. You're forced to trade other guys. I mean, you're forced at this point to trade Nick York. You're forced at this point, I would argue, to trade Miguel Blaze. Because if it's Roman Anthony's going to be here and you just took the guy with the 12th overall pick the other night, he's going to jump ahead of him on the rankings. You've already got a crowded outfield with Duran and, Abreu being a part of your future there. Like, it's getting too crowded. You should be forced to trade Nazan Zanatello. And now I'm starting to go Tyler Milliken and naming every single prospect in the system, but just work with me on it. You are forced to trade the guys who are blocked and will not play here. You are not forced to trade Anthony, Meyer, or Teal. The baseball argument you can make for it, and that I will make for it, is by trading one of those guys, you're going to get something of significant value in return, something that's going to help you that you don't have. A power-hitting righty, a front-of-the-rotation starter. You want to trade one of those three for an ace or a righty who you can put in between Devers and Casas? I would do that. You want to say it's not the right time to do that because you want to give Breslow more time to pick? Sure, that's fine. I agree with that. I think that's a good approach. How about Tucker on Cape Cod? Hey, Tucker.
Hey, Matt, first-time caller. I just wanted to talk about David Hamilton. This guy couldn't field his way out of a paper bag when we first started, and he's batting like 270 now, serviceable infielder. I mean, that guy made so many errors when he started, but he's decent now. Why can't you trade one of these guys in the minors? Who's going to come up and bat 270 and steal 20 bases and do what one of those guys is going to do? Go get a pitcher. I mean, it makes so much sense. Just do it.
Yeah, Tucker, so where's David Hamilton going to play next year? If Marcelo Meyer is going to be ready to go next year, and he might, Trevor Story's coming back, Meyer, Story, there's your middle infield right there. You can say maybe Hamilton's your third guy because he's got speed. Maybe he's a good bench guy and he's improved defensively. All right, fine. Well, then where does Valdez go? Where does Grissom go? What about Nick York? What about Christian Campbell, who's now a top 100 prospect in Double-A? He's a middle infielder. So you say, hey, I want to keep David Hamilton. He's impressed me. That's fine. Okay. You got to trade 4 other guys. And you can't just wait until the offseason. I mean, you can, because decision time on most of these guys really is this offseason. But you have a team this year that's ready to improve. So now the pressure is on Greg Breslow. You got to pick who to keep and who to trade. And if you want to kick the can down the road until the last possible moment, that's fine. This offseason really is the last possible moment to trade a lot of these guys. Can you be ready to trade him 3 months sooner because it's going to help this team right now? Should you be ready to trade Nick York in a deal for Brent Rooker or Nate Eovaldi? You should be at that point. And I just hope they don't drag their feet on it, because decision time is coming sooner rather than later on these guys anyway, and this team is better than I thought. I mean, listen, if the Red Sox weren't good, I wouldn't be pounding the table to trade all these guys right now. And when I say all these guys, I don't mean all of them, but let's be honest, you have to make a decision on a lot of them. I'd say you can do that in the 2024-2025 offseason. Well, turns out this team's way better than any of us would have thought. And here they are. It's time to invest. It's time to improve. 617-779-0985. I see you on the phone lines. Hang tight. We also, though, have to do a great baseball hour staple. We have Trivia Tuesday coming your way next. You should get this one as a Red Sox fan. It has to do with the big-time anniversary. You should get this one, and you can win an important gift card. A gift card's going to help you out. Trivia Tuesday coming your way next. Majority's got the headlines.
Oh, Matt, before you go to break,
yes,
we should prompt in your script there. It should say the call-in number so we can screen the caller.
Okay.
The contest entrance, so that they'll be ready on the other side.
Okay, so here's what you need to do.
I'm sorry I didn't explain this to you during the break. My apologies.
Jimmy, this is not my first radio program. I should have been able to get that.
I have failed you as a producer.
You have not failed me.
I fail a lot as a producer. Trust me.
You're not Obi-Wan failing Anakin. I was not the chosen one to begin with, Jimmy. 617.
You're my chosen one, Matt.
Thank you, Jimmy. 931-0985. That's the contest line. 617-931-0985 for an opportunity to win a gas gift card. If you know your Red Sox trivia, and you should know this one. Trivia Tuesday next. Majority with the headlines.
Your baseball knowledge can lead to fabulous prizes. And now, here's your host, Tony Mazzarati.
Do you have any idea how excited I am that Trivia Tuesday returned this year? I'm such a trivia dork. I'm such a trivia nerd. Yes, I'm like one of those people that sits down and watches Jeopardy every night. Like, that's my thing. I'm so cool, I sit down and watch Jeopardy every single night. It is Trivia Tuesday. And the production's so great and so old, we still call it the baseball reporters in that production. But hey, don't change it. This gets me excited. It gets me fired up. So here's the deal. We're going to take the first two callers right now for Trivia Tuesday at 617-931-0985. Trivia Tuesdays are presented by Golf. The winner will score a $50 gas card, which will help you nowadays. So here's the deal. We take 4 calls. If you don't get them, then our sales guy, Adam Moscatel, gets a gas card, which is not good. I don't want Moscatel, love you, mean it. I don't need you getting anything. I want the people to get this. This is for the people. This is not for Moscatel, who, by the way, takes care of me more than just about anybody here. So I love you, Moscatel, mean it. I want you to get the card if nobody does. But I think people should get this. You should get this one tonight. Here's the question. The All-Star game is tonight. This past weekend was the 25th anniversary.
Hang on, Matt.
Yes?
You got to punch up the caller, bring in the contestant.
Well, do we punch him in afterwards?
No. You punch him up now.
Oh, okay. Let's do that. John in Rhode Island.
And then we'll put him on a clock because this gives him time to. We have to keep within time standards.
Okay.
Like we have to bring out the 10-second clock, the buzzer, all that stuff. So bring in the contestant and then ask your question.
Clearly, I should have listened to Trivia Tuesday tape to be better prepared for this. John in Rhode Island. Hi, you're our first contestant.
We're all learning here.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
John, here's your question for you, all right? And then you have 10 seconds to answer. We've got the timer, we've got the buzzer ready to go on you. Here's your question. Pedro Martinez was the starting pitcher for the American League in the 1999 All-Star Game. Who was the starting pitcher for the National League?
Randy Johnson.
That is not correct. I'm just going to say you should get this one as a Red Sox fan. Yes, there are a lot of great options. Randy Johnson was pitching for the Diamondbacks in 1999. He is not the answer. Not the answer. 617-931-0985. If you get this correct, you're walking away with a $50 gas card. Tom in Dorchester, you are contestant number 2 tonight. Hi, Tom.
Hey, how we doing?
Same question for you. You have 10 seconds to answer this. Pedro Martinez was the starting pitcher for the American League All-Star team in 1999. Who was the starting pitcher for the National League?
Oh, gosh. Mike Hampton.
Not a good enough guess. Yes, Mike Hampton was a big deal at that point. You should get this as a Red Sox fan. 617-931-0985. Brett in Plymouth. Once again, Brett, here is your question. Pedro Martinez was the starting pitcher for the American League All-Star team in 1999. Who was the starting pitcher for the National League?
Greg Maddux.
Good guess, incorrect. Once again, my hint to you is you should get this as a Red Sox fan. Key term, Red Sox. Boy, I'm really glad I didn't ask tonight, Jimmy, who the 5 players Pedro struck out were in the All-Star game.
I thought this question was a slam dunk.
This is a slam dunk.
I thought this was a World Series victory, an easy World Series victory for whoever was called upon.
617-931.
You should get this question multiple times. You should win multiple championships with this question.
Yep. All right.
This answer.
Jimmy's trying to help you. Brian and Drake, you're our last contestant for this. Otherwise, our sales guy gets the gas card. Brian.
I am going to enjoy that 3 gallons of gas when I tell you it's Curt Schilling.
There you go. Curt Schilling.
I remember it well.
Curt Schilling, the starting pitcher for the National League, of course, at the time, pitching for the Philadelphia Phillies. Brian and Drake, you are our winner tonight. I'm glad everybody else sucked so you could have the opportunity to get through. Here's what we're going to do, Brian.
Hey, was I the only one back then that I wish so much that Ivan Rodriguez didn't throw out Matt Williams so that Pedro could have had 6 strikeouts in that game?
Brian, I'm so happy you just said this, and I was going to put you on hold so you talk to Majority and you get everything squared away. I said the exact same thing to Jimmy Stewart yesterday. I said,
"Did you really?
If Matt Williams didn't try to steal a base, Bruce Bochy, Hall of Fame manager for the National League, puts the steal on. Matt Williams tries to steal on Pudge Rodriguez, of all guys.
That slob. What a slob.
Agreed, what a slob. Gets gunned down, instead robbing Pedro of the opportunity to strike out Mike Piazza, who was also in the Hall of Fame, to complete the 6 strikeouts.
Yep. And he goes down swinging.
No doubt about that, Brian. I'm gonna put you on hold because you got it. Is he good? He's good. I can let him go. Brian and Drake, you are our winner. So just wanted to make sure he didn't have to talk to Majority there. Yes, that's the way it should have gone down. Matt Williams reaches against Pedro Martinez. I mean, first pitch swinging, if I recall, just went up there and guessed, grounded to Robbie Alomar, and Alomar butchered it. Of all guys, Alomar makes an error, which robs Pedro, and then Williams tries to steal, robs Pedro of the opportunity to strike out Mike Piazza. Jimmy, can you...
Who, by the way, struck out the next at bat against David Cone.
David Cone, man, he did have a good 1999. Was that the year that Cone threw his perfect game?
It might have been.
I think it was. Because I think Wells threw his perfect game in 98 and Cone in 99.
Cone comes in the top of the 3rd inning and strikes out Mike Piazza on 5 pitches.
Let me ask you this. You have the box score up in front of you?
I do.
This is like a Trivia Tuesday question for you, Jimmy. What American League shortstop ended up playing second base in this game? Because the American League shortstops were loaded. And I think I have this right. Because Nomar started, obviously Jeter, A-Rod. What American League shortstop played second base later on in the game?
It wasn't Jose Offerman.
No, but confirm this for me. Was it Omar Vizquel? Did Vizquel end up playing second base? So if it is,
it's not listed here in the box score.
Did it list him at shortstop?
It did.
Okay. So I guess I don't remember that. But yes, Jose Offerman was a
Lofton went from left to center, replaced by Bernie Williams. Nomar at short, Jeter at short, Vizquel at short. Mm-hmm. Griffey Jr. in center. B.J. Surhoff came in and replaced him in left. I'm not going to do this, but you get the idea.
Okay, there we go. B.J. Surhoff. Hard-nosed player, B.J.
And, of
Surhoff.
Course, John Jaha came in as DH at one point.
John Jaha. Yes, for Mikey Adams, for all the listeners of Planet Mike.
But Jose Offerman pinch hit for Robbie Alomar and played second base.
Jose Offerman had a good year. He had a good year. And I remember nothing made 8-year-old Matt McCarthy more irrationally angry than when I went to get to a Red Sox autograph signing at the Cambridge Side Galleria. Before the 1999 season, Mo Vaughn had just left, and I asked Jimmy Williams, who was there at the signing. It was Jimmy Williams, it was Jim Corsi, Lou Merlone, and somebody else was there signing. I forget who the fourth was.
I'll guess Brian Daubach?
It probably was somebody like Brian Daubach. Daubach is my daddy, according to the T-shirt that Sean Silver was wearing last night. I asked, 8-year-old Matt McCarthy asked Jimmy Williams, he said, who's going to replace Mo Vaughn? Who's going to play some first base? And he basically said, well, we have Daubach and we have Jose Offerman. I was done. I didn't want to hear Jose Offerman. And then Lou, who was sitting next to him, said, hey, Skip, I can play some first base. And 8-year-old Matt McCarthy was like, you stay away from that, Lou. That's Mo's spot. I don't want you there, Lou. Hey, you go be a utility infielder. I need a power-hitting lefty. I want Mo back. Lou was trying to replace Mo to 8-year-old Matt McCarthy. I did not take that well. I did not. I've held it against him ever since. He was just trying to be funny. Nope, was not tolerating that. Just sign my ball and get out of here. You're not Mo.
So Lou's been humorless for 20-plus years.
I'll let you be the judge of that. All-Star game tonight. I do have a quick thought on the All-Star game tonight. Not only the format as it ends, but also at the beginning of the game. We'll get to that next. took 4 callers to find somebody who knew that Curt Schilling was the starting pitcher opposite Pedro in 1999.
I'm stunned that our audience didn't know 25 years ago, like baseball history, like basic baseball history, I thought.
That's pretty easy.
And remember yesterday we were discussing whether we should have the caller name 2 or 3 of the 5 guys that Pedro struck out. That would have been a fail.
Oh, my God. We wouldn't have even gotten close to that based on some of the calls we got. Congratulations to Brian and Drake for winning the gas card. Which is good. Oh, what was the first question I proposed to you yesterday, Jimmy? I said, no, we need to make it a little bit harder. Red Sox fans are going to know this. I want to make them work for it. My whole thing was name the one guy that Pedro didn't strike out.
They would have never gotten
Not in a million years. Well, Brian and Drake would have gotten it because, yes. I mean, he knew. But, man, that was, I'm not going to lie, that was not a good showing.
No.
Not a good showing.
I'm disappointed in you, Boston.
You should be. Stu, very disappointed. I am, too. Now, is that a reflection?
I'm waggy finger disappointed in you, Boston.
Now, is that a Boston thing or is that a 98.5 The Sports Hub clientele thing? I think we can probably
the audience might not have been around 25 years ago.
Well, we are supposed to appeal to people.
I mean, Milliken's favorite championship is the 07 championship,
right,
which I think only Theo Epstein feels that way.
Because Milliken doesn't remember 2004. He was too young.
He would have loved that team.
Who wouldn't have? It's a long time ago, man. 20 years ago. Right? You've got an entire generation plus 25 years ago for the All-Star game. So you need to be at least in your early 30s to have a conscious memory of it, right? I mean, we had a caller yesterday say I was 9 years old and I was a kid who loved baseball and that summer got me into it. Yeah, you really need to be at least 8 or 9, 7, 8, 9, 10 in there, somewhere in there, to have fully appreciated that. I do wonder if you'll get anything compelling tonight with Paul Skeens. You know, nothing will ever top Pedro in 1999. It's the greatest show in the history of Fenway Park. It's the greatest moment in the history of the All-Star game. I'd argue 1999 is the greatest All-Star game in baseball history. I mean, it's on the short list, for sure, based on what Pedro did against the guys that he did it against. 3 Hall of Famers, and the 2 other guys he struck out were McGuire and Sosa, who should be in the Hall of Fame.
I need to see him one-on-one with Aaron Judge. But Judge is batting 4th.
Doesn't that suck that you only get 1 inning out of the starter instead of 2?
Yep, should be 2 out of the starter.
This Skeens guy is awesome. He's awesome. He's electric. If you're just a baseball casual, tune in tonight. Tune in and watch this guy pitch. 6-0 with a 1.90 ERA since coming up in May. He throws 100. He should have had a no-hitter the other night. This is good for baseball. He
should have had 2 this year, Matt. He's been pulled twice in the middle of no-hitters.
When was the first?
Sometime in May.
Did I miss this? It was like right when he came up. Was it like a 6-inning no-hitter? What was it?
It was like 95 pitches.
Yeah. Doesn't that suck? Baseball, I mean, like sports, it's all about stars, right? You know, I had somebody the other day say, well, Pedro was, he got hurt right after the 1999 All-Star game. His next start wasn't very good. So what? You'll always remember the 1999 All-Star game. This is what we remember. You remember the big moments. That's what sports are all about. So I wonder if you get that tonight from the National League starter, Paul Skeens, who's just freaking awesome, man.
And it turned out okay because in the playoffs, Pedro came out of the bullpen and shut up Cleveland. And he pitched that great game against Clemens in a 4-1 series loss, but still.
Before I let you go tonight, Stu, favorite Pedro outing? Is it 1999 in the All-Star game? Is it the 17K game? Is it the Clemens night on Sunday night where he outdueled him? Is it Cleveland? What is it?
So for me, it's the 99 All-Star game because I was there in person. The other one is the 17 strikeout game in Yankee Stadium on that Friday night.
Trivia Tuesday, who homered against Pedro in the 17K game?
Was it Bernie Williams?
It was not, although that's a good guess because Bernie Williams killed the Red Sox and did everything in big moments. I'll give you a hint. He was a Red Sox hitting coach. Chili Davis.
Chili Davis, switch hitter. I love Chili Davis, too.
Not too many switch hitters left in baseball, Jimmy.
We counted 4 yesterday.
We did Ramirez, Lindor, Sandy Leon, and who else?
It was Josh Bell.
Josh Bell.
And Carlos Santana's still kicking around.
Carlos Santana. Yeah, I don't think Sandy Leon's still kicking around. He's now an inactive Hall of Famer, Carabas. We hope to have Carabas later on in the week. We hope you'll join us tomorrow. Nick Cattle's coming up next on McCarthy. Have a great night. Thanks, Stu. Thanks, Kevin. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See you.